So Mo asks a good question about that, about the triggers. Mo asks, how can you pause if you don't know it's coming / happening?
Good question. Right. You don't pause before. Like after, let it occur, and then practice the pause once you feel it or once you're experiencing it. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So it's in present time. For example, right? Like there's nothing to prepare for because keep in mind that feelings or emotions are messengers. Right.
Mm-hmm.
They are messengers. They are used to guide you towards or away from something. Right. And so when you say, how can you pause if you don't know it's coming? No, you won't see it always coming, but you will know when it is there,
Mm.
right? Based on how you feel in your body and in your mind, right? And so at that point you pause, right? The minute it comes, because you allow it to kind of settle in. We don't finish feelings and emotions. We hijack them. They come in and we do some things to do to keep from feeling them, but they don't go away. They still inside. So they're gonna come back and revisit you. And that's when you blindside, right? If you
Whew.
pissed, you pissed. Own it. Because you
Mm.
can't sublease, rent, Airbnb out something you don't already own. You have to own it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're scamming yourself emotionally because you acting like you don't have a heavy feeling of emotions, right? I want to go back to something really quick,
Mm-hmm.
Kofa, hopefully to clarify this trigger thing. We are triggered in good ways as well.
Mm.
The industry, the means will have you thinking, oh, triggers is bad. Triggers are indicators that you need more healing. But they're also indicators that you may have had an unfinished desire or a strong desire. For example, you and I are fathers. When we see a baby, we get triggered like, oh, I remember when my baby was
Yeah.
there. Or hell no, I ain't carrying no diaper bags though. Either way, it's a
Got it!
so
Hotter than fish grease.
we think like like 18, we like,
Yeah,
shoot, that
it's
child.
two sides of
Yeah,
remember when. It's two
yeah,
sides of remember when. I tell you, like you
correct.
be like, oh man, and then you be like, whew. So
Right.
yeah.
So if we get used to how triggers are, right, I teach how emotions work in the body and the mind, right? And I know you had a question on there, I
Mm.
think about stress or anxiety, and no. So we'll talk further about that. But I just wanted to point out, like, there's some good triggers, right? There's
Yeah.
some good triggers. People they see some food, they trigger, right? You see something, you like, oh yeah, I remember, man. You smell a sweet potato pie. In your case, a pound cake from Auntie. You like, oh, I remember me. It
Yeah.
ain't the pound cake. It's 15 Thanksgivings ago,
Yeah. Mm.
right? That your mama had one, or your grandmama, or your own auntie. So
Yeah.
I just
And
want
it,
to clarify: triggers are your friend if you allow
yeah, and it's something. It's funny you mentioned that pound cake, bro. I cannot see a pecan pie and not think about my auntie.
them, for
And
sure.
she passed some years ago, and I haven't had a pecan pie like hers. Had some good ones, but she would make me because I don't know. I like pecan pie. Nobody else in my family likes, so she would make me one just for me. Even if she
Yeah,
brought it like we were having something going on, she would make me a whole pie just for me because she know I like her pecan pie. So I
yeah.
can't not see that and not think about my auntie. Sad feeling, but happy feeling at the same time because I
Absolutely,
knew she took that time out for me. So that was real. So it's real personal to me. Pecan
absolutely.
pie. Go figure.
Point exactly. That's my point exactly. Good,
Yep.
good.
Mo says thank you for that question. DG says I have so many questions for him. DG, make sure you hit him up. I know we all do, bro. I really don't want to belabor the point. We already been on the hour, Curt. I really don't want to hold you no more. And we probably might have to do this again if you're willing, because we could break it up into parts and I can have it a little bit more structured. I did just want to introduce you to this space because there's so many men on here that are giving advice, selling courses, selling books, which I don't have no problem with you if you're genuinely helping people, because I've had conversations with brothers who have YouTube channels that have helped me as well. But there still is nothing, in my personal opinion, like a licensed clinician like yourself who has been through it. I think I put it in the description. I don't know if you read it, but like when I told him last night when I was telling him, hey, I got a guest coming on. When I say this brother got it out the mud, he got it out the mud. So it's not just, hey, I went to school and now I'm coming out here and using, the recent, tropes and traits and lingo to get black men to come to therapy. Like you have a lived experience.
For sure.
Like you said, before we get out of here, y'all please don't drop any more. Well, you can drop the questions. I might have to save them for next time, but I do want you to hear this story. This is personal for Kofa. This is my question about the shoes. Tell them about the shoes. So for those that don't know, Curt is a cold ass sneakerhead, and every time we see each other, I gotta look. Hey man, what size them shoes is, bro? Like he always has some fresh ass shoes. So I just want you to share that short story of why shoes are so important to you, because he's a professional, right? So people that think he's supposed to walk around in hard bottoms all the time. I'll put Curt shoe collection up with anybody else you've seen with a hell of a shoe collection. You talking about a sneakerhead? Yeah, I'm not gonna go down that rabbit hole, but tell them why, because I remember when I asked you why, and that shit was such a beautiful story. It always stayed with me. So in closing, can we share that story with them?
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. Thank you for having me, man. Anytime we can rock out. When I agree to do something, man, I get it for the whole land. So I block out enough time in case it go over. I don't take these opportunities lightly. So thank you. So yeah, man, the sneakerhead is it's funny because I get that question all the time, right? So coming up in Chicago, raised by a single mom, obviously in the Michael Jordan era, and even before, right? We're talking the third largest metropolis in the country. Your gear was everything. Your footwear was everything. We called them gym shoes back then, right? But I've been in the South for a minute. And so my mother could not afford to keep my shoe game up, right? And I went to top schools, right? I grew up in the hood, but I went to top schools where their parents had the money to make sure that they was flossing way back when. And so I used to find fault in my mother for not having the financial means to provide me with shoes, right? And so when she passed, which was in 2010, I had been on sneakers since I was an adult. I promised myself that A, I ain't gonna never want for sneakers again. And for B, it's sort of a tribute and part of my healing and grieving process of not only thanking my mother, uh, but acknowledging how much hell I used to put her through as if she was purposely withholding a bucket full
the
of
shoe money.
Right. Like, so part of me buying sneakers is to acknowledge from whence I came, to show thanks to my mom that you prepared me enough to buy all the sneakers I want when I want, right? And, I still like to look fresh. So it's multifaceted into that. And it's also a way of just treating myself like, I got on, I got on.
Oh, you got to slide back a little bit.
Yeah.
You got the phone.
I got on
Okay,
some,
look at it. Just pulled
yeah.
them out the box. Them things
That's
bleach
it,
white.
right? So I went to a session. I did a home session with a family today. This how I go, right? I'm pulling up, and so it's just my way of taking care of myself, my self-care, paying homage to my mom, staying fly because I am from the Chi, and really connecting with the clients. Black men, like you come to my office in Midtown Atlanta or talk to me on the Zoom. I ain't gonna have no shirt and tie and jacket on unless you invite me out for dinner and require that. Otherwise, man, I'm going to first model how you can do you and still get through this healing journey and whatever you've been through. So that's my sneaker story. I probably got a couple hundred. I'm down to probably buying one a month now. I used to buy 3, 4, 5 a month. I probably get one a month. I post on social media, so my job is to never wear the same sneaker back to back. And so right, it's just my way of staying young, man, and staying fly. I got a lot of reasons, but what I can tell you is my kids and my nephews they're not into sneakers like me. Like
really,
like I'm like I could take any of them sneakerhead. They'd be like, we're good. I'm like,
weirdos.
I'm buying. They'd be like, nah, we good. I don't know.
That's crazy. Weird ass kids. Like, look, I'm trying. Do you know what you know how many yards I used to cut? How many cars I washed to get this one pair? I'm about to get you to, man. But you know what? Keep the bread. That's another pair for you.
Exactly.
Let me slide over to these last few comments.
Okay.
Auntie Sean says, "Thank you, Dr. Curtis, for your light. For the light that you brought tonight. 100 with the fire emojis." Sister Mo says, "Thanks, Dr. Jasper. Great informational and positive live." Yes, ma'am. Smoke and talk. You charted the class. All good. What's going on in B more? But salute to y'all. Appreciate y'all being in here. Let me see. Just I'm not sure what you mean, Mo. You probably something we were just flowing with. But Mo said she just saw a Blackish episode saying the same thing. I'll think about the shoes. Yeah. But I just love that story, man. Cause I'm like, man, how do you keep up with all these shoes? And then when Curt told me, I was like, damn, man. Like,